Well, some background about the Real Cultural Bureau.
Yeah.
A few years ago, the Hong Kong government, it could kind of go back to after 1997, when the mainland Chinese government take over Hong Kong. They didn't know what to do, so they did not do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just basically left Hong Kong as it is. So in the first 10 years after 1997, first there was fear, and then they realized nothing changed. Oh, okay, everything is safe. And then the Chinese government realized, well, maybe we should start doing something instead of waiting 50 years later. And then they start to push this thing called Article 23, which is kind of like anti-terrorism act. But we Hong Kong people are very smart. We can all see through beyond this act is actually taking our freedom away. So a lot of people went up to the street and protest against it. It is at that time the Chinese government realized, hey, we gotta act fast, otherwise the Hong Kong people they are not gonna submit. They are gonna continue to fight and gonna get us into trouble. So ever since that, this kind of change is getting more and more and deeper. So a few years ago, the Hong Kong government, they are trying to create this bureau called the Cultural Bureau.
Mm.
And they were going to appoint a person with communist background as the Cultural Bureau director. And originally it's all good intention, but then suddenly you realize they're not really honoring our true culture. I mentioned before the 4 types of culture. They're basically trying to erase all this old authentic culture that is part of you and just replace it with this low-level communism, propaganda culture, which they don't even understand themselves. Right? If you look at what's going on in mainland China right now, I mean, who practice communism? True communism? No, they are practicing ultra capitalism. Right? If Mao Zedong and if Marx resurrect, they'll be punished by death. So I think this is totally crazy, and so the whole Cultural Bureau idea comes from that mindset of trying to go against the Cultural Bureau. So that's why I created this bureau called the Real Cultural Bureau, and I'm the Real Cultural Director. Now I know my work, my character works. Actually, Real Cultural Director have a Facebook. You can add him. Yeah, I mean, his name is called Ho Hui Yan. It kind of means who's that guy? Yeah. And my wife really hate that character. Yeah, because I basically like put all my evil side into that character. I become this evil politician, which I act quite well, I think. And my wife really hated him.
Yeah, it was quite.
Yeah, so I know I'm successful because she really like don't want me to become like that, right? So I think everybody have that dark side, and I'm so glad that
you can be allowed to embody it.
Yeah, I just go full out and embody it, and it's so crazy. It was so wow and nice. Yeah, sometimes it's enjoyable to be a bad guy, but if you do it for real, then a lot of messes. So save it for the art world, maybe.
Maybe that's the purpose of the art world for some person.
Yeah, you can just release whoever you think you are, the fictional side of you. So what's the story didn't end there. It ended when a lot of people go against the establishment of Cultural Bureau. So finally, the government gave up and stopped the whole program secretly. Yeah.
Okay.
But my bureau, the Real Cultural Bureau, is still operational today. So I won, they lost. So I'm very happy about that. But I was warned by my wife that you should not dress up like that and go to art exhibition anymore. So I kind of retired him after showing him like 6 or 7 times.
Oh, really?
Because I kind of split the tank and the person. So sometimes I go to event just as the person. Yeah. Because I think it's already well polished. The whole narrative is already. I always go with my suitcase of cash, and my banner and the Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Do you want me to dress up like that tomorrow?
Just go there and just pay people money. So everybody have to kiss my ass and shut up and be harmonized. So I think but after a while I think I've already done my duty, and so 2 years after that project, today that is happening. A lot of local Hong Kong people using this parody idea to fight against the ridiculous situation that we have in the city right now. I can make one example. Like yesterday, 200 people went outside a Japanese department store, and then they all dress up like Mao Zedong, head and the red books and the red flag and the white shirt. And then what they do is when they curse at the mainland shoppers, and then they shout at them and say, you mainland people, you are supposed to be patriot of our country. You should stop using foreign products. Stop buying foreign products and go back to China and use mainland Chinese products. They do that because they want to stop this overflood of mainland tourists. That's what happened before in Hong Kong. A lot of, you have to understand the whole of China right now is under crisis. It's a national crisis. A lot of people don't know that. In mainland China, I read reports that a lot of the provinces are already bankrupt. Only like 2 cities have clean water. Most of the rivers are poisonous. Not only the river, but the air that you breathe, the food that you eat are poisonous. And the people know it from mainland China. And that's why they all flood away from mainland China to Hong Kong to buy everyday products. Not only just LV brands and stuff. They buy what they buy? They buy instant noodles. They buy yoku, the Japanese drink.
Really?
Yeah. They buy baby milk powder. To the point that we local people cannot even buy baby milk powder for our own babies. So they're treating Hong Kong like a supermarket because they themselves is going through this crisis. So we, a lot of Hong Kong people, they really, really hated this because it's disturbing our everyday life. Not only that, it drives the whole real estate market to the top, and our cityscape is changed drastically. But if you look at the GDP, the whole of the kind of consumer retail is only like 4%, including hiring staffs and hotel sector. 4%. It's only 4%. It's sacrifice. In return, is the whole street is changed, full of people with like luggage walking around, and this is totally chaos. And that chaos is going everywhere else, not only Hong Kong. So before they try to protest, and then they get scolded at, and then finally they find out a way to scold at that situation without getting too much trouble is using this parody. This is what we call using red to fight against red, which is really smart.
Yeah.
I think. But actually, I've done it 2 years ago before already. So I won't do it again. Let them do it.
You just above.
I did it already.
Well, you're the real culture director. So.
Yeah. But still a fake Communist Party member. Through this parody, right? I didn't see that because I was thinking, in art we can use parody, but in real life you can just go out there and shout and fuck you, the dirty regime. Yeah, you can do that. But now I can see it's getting closer and closer. the prison is closing up, and that really stimulate me to do as much and as fast as possible. So maybe in the future, when the gate really close, the art historian have more materials to talk about. I hope that day never come. But I can sense that gate is closing up. Maybe I'm super sensitive.
No. I think it's very important to have a character like that. Not only your character as a director, but also your own character as an artist to speak out and voice out for.
A lot of Hong Kong artists are like that. I mean, we kind of slowly grow out of it. You know, we become more mature. Like before, we didn't care, but now, because when the British were here, we are brought up to be apolitical. We are brought up to be totally economical. So, but once the British colony is gone, and then you suddenly realize you don't belong anywhere else. There's nowhere else like this place. You know, if you go to Shenzhen, you might look like you belong, but actually inside you don't belong there. You're a total foreigner. Now this happened a lot to mixed children. Yeah.
Tell me about that in Korea. A lot of Korean that has been raised in the US or UK, and they come back in Korea. They look like
they physically.
They physically, yes.
Not the same, and they be constantly being reminded.
Oh yeah.
And like people like me, of course I can live in Mongolia or live in Beijing or live in Shanghai. I mean, I might look materialistically, I look the same because I have the same material, right? But inside is not the same. It's not the same. The cultural upbringing is not the same. So a lot of us artists, crowd, and also Hong Kong people who are awakened, you know, it's kind of like the Matrix, the movie. Like here's the green pill and here's the red pill, right? You take the red pill, you see the truth, but you cannot go back. You take the green pill, and then you go back and forget everything, and everything will become normal. I took the red pill. I woke up. It sucks. But I'd rather living in the truth than a lie and deception. Yeah. Because I think that's what freedom really is about.